So long, and thanks for some of the fish. Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Zareth Prevails. We're going to talk about the year 2022 and give some rankings. We're going to talk about the different characters that were released and rank them against each other. We're going to talk about the year and all the different major things that have occurred month to month. It's going to be a good time, folks. You'll see. So let's just jump right into it, shall we? And by it, I mean mounting yonder algorithm. I would really appreciate it, guys, if you would. If you want to support the channel for free, all you've got to do is hit that thumbs up button, subscribe, comment. All of those things help us get more attention from YouTube to be able to have other people click, frankly. And that really, really helps the channel grow. And I feel a little disappointed with how little or how much my channel has grown this year. We're gonna keep mounting and prevail, though. Don't you worry. I love you all. Thank you all so much for all of the support that you've given me throughout the year. And please, I exhort you to continue. Now, this year at a glance, folks, I got about 5K new subs, so I'm not quite at 15,000 yet. At 14, I'm close to 14,600, and so we should be able to get it in the next month or two, and that's good. We grew by, I guess, 50%. I mean, that's not bad. I was really hoping we'd get to 20,000 this year, frankly, and so a little disappointed in that, but we can live. For a 365-day year, I ended up making 438 videos, which is a lot of videos, actually, folks. That's a lot of effort. So, I guess it makes sense that some days I made 2 videos, and other days, since I do daily content, that's what it is. That's it. That does not include any of the videos that, like, I made a bunch of unlisted videos and stuff. That doesn't factor into my count. So we got 21 new characters and 6 new ships. Last year we had 18 new characters and 2 new ships. We got Datacrons, we got the we got the Rise of the Empire territory battle, and we got a few other things as well. I'll give you a bigger overview here in a minute. Here, real quick, what I want to do though, folks, is show you all the different thumbnails that I made in the year over the course of time. So this will run for, I don't know, less than a minute, but these are all the different thumbnails that I made for my videos over however long of the year, I suppose. And I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot. I mean, I think that even if you just took into account the fact that I spent, even if you say just 10 minutes on each of these thumbnails, which it is even just that, but I mean that's like that's like 4,000 minutes. It's a lot of time, folks. It's a whole lot of time. I usually spend more than 10 minutes on these thumbnails, and so yeah, just I don't know. Maybe it's bragging or something. Who knows? It's kind of cool, in my opinion. I was able to do that. So in January, we got Iden Versio, which was an exciting character, of course, and Second Sister, which was the start of the Inquisition. It's in January. They also had a thing. This is from the forums that Lord Vader was being beat by Supreme Leader Kylo, and they weren't sure if they wanted to do that, and so they threatened to nerf it, kind of. They were like, well, we're going to be watching it, and I like that they threatened to, like, they just looked at it, but then they didn't change anything. I know that everyone tends to think that CG is just going to nerf everything into the ground, because screw CG. Like, CG just hates us, they just want to take every good thing from us, and in reality, I really think that this is good. Like, they look at things, and then if they can, they just buff things. If they have to do that, they buff something. Instead, they don't really nerf things. I feel like the community at large is just generally got a very negative, like, oh yeah, CG, they're just gonna nerf us. They didn't in this case, though, and there's another instance that I'll point out in a minute that's also the case. So let's see, Grand Arena skill squish. So we had just come into the new GAC, the one with the leaderboard and the skill squish, and it was 12 matches at the time still, but every season they'd squish our skill ratings down and stuff. Lord Vader was brand new, etc. February, we got Ninth Sister, the Horn Chinian herself, and then we got the 2 new fleet ships. Fleet ships. They were very fleet. They were very fast. But the Resistance Bomber and the TIE Echelon, which is really exciting time for me. I was just like, yes, we finally got tanks. We've been wanting tanks for those fleets for what seems like forever. So really cool stuff. The State of the Galaxy talked about that release, which is really cool. And then in March, a lot of things happened. Doja, the community manager at the time, stepped out. We got Meatface as the new community manager. They gave us a road ahead that talked about what? I forget now. Stuff and things. I don't think it was that interesting, actually. If I remember right, I don't think they talked about Grand Inquisitor at that point, but pretty soon they do mention it, I think. Or maybe this is one. Who knows? I think maybe it'll be the next slide, though. They also started monitoring the TIE Echelon because the First Order fleet was beating Executor, and they'd already said that they didn't want those 2 bombers to help us beat the meta, and so Executor was the big fleet in the area at the time, and so that was a kind of scary thing for us. They were like, man, please don't nerf the Echelon, and then they didn't. They told us that they might. They were looking at it, so it was good to set expectations, but then they didn't. So it's good that they're paying attention to game balance. And then let's see. Oh yeah, this is when they added the 3rd fleet in the fleet zone for Kyber. So it feels like they've just had it down there forever, but it's only been 9 months. Though of course my kids would tell you 9 months is for frickin' ever. So I guess that's what it is. In April, we got the new Proving Grounds event kind of announced, at least. I think it came out pretty soon after that. We got a lot of characters every month, guys. We got the 5th brother. Malgus was revealed as the next Conquest one, and then we got the Outrider, which immediately made me think we were going to get Profundity, though I didn't know what exact shape it was going to take. And then they also, it was in April that they announced the Grand Inquisitor would be coming to the holotables. And so, in January is when we got Second Sister, and then it's been like 3 months, and now we've got the Inquisitor announced, though it's going to take a while for us to get him. May was kind of an infamous month. First we got Sortie, which is CG just fabricated her. They were just like, yeah, she's a new Galaxy of Heroes Star Wars character, and it's like, okay, well, I guess you already did that with the Geo Brood Alpha, but it was just kind of funny. She's a really good character. It's just still makes me laugh. They went to Star Wars Celebration, handed out a bunch of crystals to the people who went there and signed up for a thing, and I had a friend who just signed me up and put my ally code in, and I got crystals too, even though I didn't go to Celebration. So yay for me, and yay for the person who helped me out. This is also the month that the beta testing program failed and was demolished because one person took it into their heads that it would be a good idea, which it wasn't, to the new Datacron system. They wanted CG, they wanted to ruin Datacrons for everyone and for CG, and so they just took a bunch of stuff, even though they had signed a non-disclosure agreement. They just showed everything in the testing environment, which means it wasn't even balanced yet, and of course people panicked, and the next month was when they announced the Datacrons in the road ahead there. We also got the Grand Inquisitor event in June, so we'd been waiting for about 5 months of just like kind of torture, waiting for all of the Inquisition to be ready. We also got Admiral Radis, which is like, why are you even holding a gun? You're just going to be hanging out with your fleet the whole time. But one way or another, they announced he's also wearing blue jeans, it looks like, in this picture, which is a trap. But I hate that they were like, hey guys, Datacrons, go. And they just, you know, they didn't roll it out well, and we'll talk about that a little bit more in the final grades, but not my very favorite thing. Datacrons were a huge downturn for a lot of people and a lot of content creators. I know a ton of people were unsubbing every content creator they could because they were spiteful about the game. They didn't want to, and I don't even blame players. You don't want to play a game that's not interesting to you, and if you're panicked, then why are you watching content for a game you're not interested in? I get it. I think CG should go say 10 Hail Marys and in repentance, and then give us all a bunch of crystals to pay us back for mental injuries that we've sustained. So, or maybe they could do something even cooler. Who knows? Anything is possible, guys. It's like aliens. But anyways, July 2022 was when we got Chrysanthemum. They also announced Jabba. They gave us our first set of requirements for Jabba. They also announced, and I didn't write this down, I apologize, but this is when Profundity was announced, and I think it was released either later that month or the next month. I don't actually have a screenshot of it here, so just pretend like Profundity is suddenly on the holotables. In August was the month that really made me mad, you know. So Datacrons have been around for a while, and they released this thing that's an FAQ. They pretend like if it's an FAQ. They just made up the questions, though, because you know that if anyone is actually interested in Datacrons, they wouldn't have asked the stupid, just the most asinine questions possible. And then CG were like, oh, we took all this feedback from people that we just made up, and we're gonna make changes based on what's gonna make us most money. So, like, I hope you guys enjoy it. Like, it was just the most awful post ever. I'm still just like a little bit upset about it. Like it was just so discouraging and frustrating to read. It was the most disingenuous thing I've ever seen, and it felt, you know, people. I don't love it when people are like, it was like a slap in the face. Like I've never really liked that as like the, you know. I'm like, you didn't get slapped in the face. It's not literally, but it did feel like that a little bit here, guys. It's the closest I've ever come to calling it that. So, otherwise, we got Scando and the second set of requirements. We got Sweat Stain Ben, which is also fun, and he was announced at least. And then in September, they announced the new territory battle, which was exciting. It was very hype, and it kept a lot of people from just leaving immediately after all of the disingenuous nonsense in August. They did calm the community down a little bit, and a lot of people told me, I'm only staying here because of territory battles, which, I mean, they needed something to stabilize it. I think they rolled Datacrons out so poorly. It's not that surprising. And then, this is when Jabba was, I think this is when they first released Jabba. So, cool. In October, they had the cool challenge and the puzzle for the community that Crumb always, he doesn't always do it, but he's done it a few times, and it's a lot of fun. And, yeah, even though I don't know how to do any of that stuff, it's fun to watch other people do it. And, Hondo, BT1, and 000 were all released in October in preparation for the new Afro event. Then we got Sana, which is kind of like Santa. She's even wearing green, she just needs some red. And then they've got the Scourge, which is not a ship that I actually included in any of my ratings or anything, because it's not going to be released until next year, early next year, but still next year. And then the road ahead also talked about the new gear releases that they're doing, which is honestly really cool that they're going to be like the stuff that we have right now. They doubled all the gear except for Kyrotech and the Gear 12 stuff. I mean, I love that. I was pretty skeptical at first. In fact, guys, I thought that rollout was not going to be strong. I thought that maybe it wouldn't make that much of an impact, but it has. It's been very impressive on what kind of impact it is, and the catch-up mechanics there for newer players. It's real. It's strong. It really is. So, you know, I'm not too proud to admit that I was wrong. I'm glad that I was skeptical. But we're good. We're good now. So the title update rolled out. That's the new territory battle that we're working on now. That's the new gear stuff that I was just talking about. And And we have Afra, and we have a very festive looking third sister. She looks more like Santa than Santa herself here. Or Santa than Santana? Carlos Santana. Neither of them look like him. But one way or another, we got third sister announced. She looks really strong with the Inquisition. So I did make an infographic, guys. I'm not gonna go super in depth on it. Just ranking all the different new things that came out. So all the new characters, obviously they have Omicrons. I'm not really ranking their Omicrons, just them as a whole compared to each other. And then also the new Omicrons and the reworks of characters, like Mace got a rework, Mob Enforcer got a rework, all these other characters got Omicrons. We can't go over all of them in this video, but that they are there. And then ships, of course, there was 6 new ships, so those are my rankings for them. And then of course CG's rollout of Datacrons is also just an F-. If you want this infographic, folks, you can just go to the video description. There's a link to my Discord server, and you can find the link for it in the infographics section. It's toward the bottom of our Discord server, so come hang out with us, folks, if you want that. And whoa, this is way too zoomed in for what I want. So anyways, this is what the infographic looks a little bit closer up. It's nothing too fancy, but I guess when we do slide. Let's see, hold on, we gotta zoom in a little bit here. So, just real briefly, guys, I love Jabba. He is a lot of fun, one of my favorite GLs at this point. He's very well realized with the rules. Iden was kind of overpowered when she first came out, and then they released Adrad and his team to be a really strong natural counter to her, and I love that that's their response to being able to something. Instead of just nerfing Iden, they instead kept her strength and then gave us all a pretty accessible squad to be able to take her out. And because Radis is just so, he just demolishes Iden so hard, it's very satisfying. You know, Malgus, obviously very strong tank, very impactful in the GAC meta at the very least. Grand Inquisitor, the same. I think he does a lot better than a lot of people give him credit for, and the fact that he's had Datacrons since he was first out, you know, good supporting Datacrons doesn't hurt, and his current Datacron set is just totally bonkers, guys. I think Ben could be in the A level maybe, but you know, he also does just hit like a damn truck if you have him modded right, which I don't apparently. So just real quick hitters, guys. Boosh does really well. I love that they gave her a way to make thermals actually work in the game. A lot of times it was just a gimmick that it would only sometimes work. It works pretty much all the time if she's with Jabba. Afra might go to the next highest rank. I just don't know. She's not good on defense though right now. She doesn't have a tank unless you take Magna Guard away from General Grievous, which he won't appreciate. She does seem very strong offensively, but on defense she's gonna lack. Sortie, she's a good turd polisher. She makes all the light side droids and dark side droids really strong. She's really good in Conquest, even without her Omicron. And then BT1, he does some damage, and that's about it. Hondo, who knows, maybe we'll promote him, maybe we won't. He looks like he's going to be good at 3v3 at least. And, I mean, the rest of these, it's just like, the only one that really stands out is Scion of Django just gets an F-, because he's so disappointing, guys. Like, at first he helped the territory war meta, and now people hardly use him at all because Datacrons are a thing, I think. You know, it's cool that they gave Wampa an Omicron. Like, all the ones at the top really did shift the whole meta pretty significantly. Juhani actually shifted the territory war meta like crazy. Much more impactful in the long run than Fulcrum Ahsoka, as it turns out. Like I said before, Mob Enforcer got a rework. She's still not great, but she got one, so she's on the list. And then in terms of ships, I mean, I don't know if Outrider really deserves an A on its own, but you need the Outrider to make the Profundity good. And of course, Profundity is the latest galactic legend, so to speak, ship out there, and really, really strong. And then the Echelon and the TIE Interceptor, both of these, you know, the Echelon gives you an off-meta counter to Executor. The TIE Interceptor actually gives you an off-meta counter to Profundity, and so both of these are really good releases as well. The other two ships, at some point, I think that the Claw is going to end up with a better situation than it currently has. But right now, it's just not. It's not very happy with where it's at, and I guess it's not that surprising, honestly. Like, at some point, we're gonna get an upgrade to the Home 1 fleet, and Claw will have it. We'll see it have its day to shine, but right now, it's just not that impressive. And then, of course, F- to CG's rollout of Datacron. So let's go to my final grades here, folks. Looks like, whoa, random planet. Final grades here. So, new content. I like the new content. I think the Datacrons actually make the game stronger. I know that a lot of people won't find that. It's not a popular opinion. I do think that they make the game stronger in a lot of ways, just on just a purely analytical level. I think that it's good to be able to have like new whales be able to catch up using this, or if someone really wants to have a couple months where they're just like, yeah, I'll spend some money, I'm gonna get to the top of GAC, and I'll just do it with Datacrons. It's very possible to do that. It opens up avenues of approach for farming your roster and really approaching things with your roster. I mean, my alt account has been able to go 2 versus 7 GLs. You know, that happened once, but it also beats other accounts that have, 6 GLs pretty consistently. Like, a lot of times. I went 6-3 this last season. Everyone had 5 or more GLs against me, and I still went 6-3. And that's only possible because of Datacrons. It gives you another avenue of approach to being able to roster, to gear your level, dear lord, to be able to advance your roster, and I love that. The new territory battle is pretty good as well. So in terms of the Datacrons and territory battles themselves, I like it, and that, we'll talk a little bit more on communication, and so insofar as it pertains to Datacron's new characters. CG has always made good kits, in my opinion. They've always been pretty dynamic, and all of these kits, like, I didn't know that I ranked some of them as like F- or whatever, but in the reality, like, every single character has a good place in the game. Actually, even Second Sister, who got an S-, she's the pilot of one of the best ships out there right now. She's fine with the squad. She's just not as good as Eighth Brother, and the Inquisition squad is great. They're just not great individually. The Jabba squad is great. The requirements for Afra, all of them, guys. Sortie, the whole 9 yards. The characters are all really fun and impressive, and CG has done a good job of designing enough design space, like putting enough design space around these characters to make it so that they haven't created more broken interactions. Communication, this is the thing that I think is a little bit reprehensible of CG, and I think the way they rolled out territory battles was wonderful. They told us about territory battles, and then the next month they told us a little bit more, then the next month they told us a little bit more, and it was great. It was exactly what you wanted to be able to do, because then you could get used to the idea. Instead of Datacrons, they could have introduced it as like, hey guys, we're going to release in a few months this really cool thing. It's going to be like mods for your whole squad, and it's going to give you a couple mechanics here and there. Like, they could have built the hype up. I'm not saying that everyone would have just jumped in and been like, yes, Datacrons, yes, I will absolutely go all in with Datacrons. I don't think that would have happened necessarily, but I do think that the community at large would have reacted a lot better. I mean, it's just the same thing as, I mean, if you just have, if you're at work and your boss comes in and says, hey, you're starting a new project, go right now. You start working on it right this instant. That's going to stress you out way more than if you know a couple weeks in advance, like, yeah, you're going to be working on this thing. You're going to be, working with these people. This is what you're going to do. This is the shape of it, start planning. Instead, it's just like, hey, Datacrons, go. Of course people are going to react negatively. Everyone does. It's stress. It sucks. It's annoying. And CG was so unapologetic about it and so uncommunicative about it that I just really think that their rollout was disgusting, and it really impacted my channel. I know that I lost a lot of subs, a lot of content creators lost hundreds of subs, in fact, just because people were so spitefully throwing this game away because Datacrons were rolled out in a way that was just very unpalatable, and I just think CG could have done so much better. They showed that they can do a better job with the new territory battle, and so I think the rollout for that was great. I also think D is also warranted instead of an F- because they did communicate throughout the year. I'm not saying they did a wonderful job, but they did their State of the Galaxies, and they did their Road Aheads, and they did, put out information and stuff. They did an okay job of communicating. I just think Datacrons especially, they just utterly failed, not to mention that really disingenuous post that I keep talking about, the forum post. Game enjoyment, I really do enjoy the game still, folks, surprisingly. I've been playing it for about 6 years at this point. I know it's 7 years old, but it's still very enjoyable to me. I have a lot of fun, and, it's not the most fun, but some of that's probably because I also, have a side hustle here doing all the content, and, it just changes things a little bit for me. Makes me a little jaded, makes me cranky. So, yeah, game enjoyment, I do think the game is still enjoyable, and I feel like it's in a good place. People have kind of made their peace with Datacrons to some degree, I think, and I think CG could also improve Datacrons a little bit. The new territory battle seems like it's been well received for the most part, even after there was an angry outburst from... it was like Alderaan was destroyed, like the cry of a million voices. And then suddenly nothing, because CG was like, no, you can actually just deploy and you're going to be able to win territory battles and get a good advancement. So, yeah, it's interesting. And then I actually didn't for some reason, I didn't add the slide for the content creation one, but I gave it a B- because I didn't meet all of my goals. I was really hoping I could get to 20,000 subs this year and really kick things off, and that didn't happen. I was hoping that all the extra content, all the extra videos were going to help with the algorithm, and really my goal at the start of the year, I thought, because I had grown so much in the past few months before that, I really thought that maybe I was going to be able to stop, like, having to go to my other job, and I could just do this professionally, and I've been disabused of that notion pretty hard, pretty soundly at this point, and, maybe one day, but... I've talked about that in my other videos. I don't need to keep repeating myself, but it's I didn't meet all my goals this year, frankly. I think I did. I learned Photoshop a lot better. I really need to work on a lot of different aspects, but a lot of it having to do with production value and everything. So, anyways, folks, I'm going to wrap it up here. Let me know what your thoughts are. Did you have a good year? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What were the most frustrating things for you? What were the most awesome things for you? I think that this year ended up being pretty dang good. We're leaving on a high note, and I hope that sets 5 and 6 of the new Datacrons are going to be more representative of their overall effect on the game moving forward. So, guys, thank you all so much for watching, and remember that in all things, Xaereth prevails.